Welcome on into the Wolverine Recruiting Show. I am Clayton Sayfie here with EJ Holland. We are back after a short hiatus. EJ was in Geneva for the Geneva Convention, I believe it was, so he is back. And we are ready to roll here for football season. We're both going to be on the road this weekend seeing some Michigan recruits, so we will have a ton of recap from that, highlights, insight, interviews with these kids coming up, and that'll continue on throughout the rest of the season. EJ's always all over the place. But EJ, let's get into a couple top storylines of the week here. Dillon Tatum, the guy pictured on the screen, has been a top storyline for quite some time now. He's kind of delayed his commitment. It's coming down to Michigan State. He still wants to make a decision. The latest we talked about this by the time his season kicks off, which is coming up here this weekend. Is that going to happen, or is it going to be delayed even further? What is the latest?
Yeah, so I checked in with Dillon this morning, and he told me that he really did want to make his commitment this week, especially with West Bloomfield having a big season opener against Adams at home. Ideally, Dillon wanted to get this out of the way before West Bloomfield started its run for a second state title. It's not like Dillon plays at a bad program. He plays at West Bloomfield, and that's going to be a big focus. And he doesn't want recruiting to distract from winning second consecutive state championship. I went out to West Bloomfield's practice before I went on vacation, and I mean, even though Ron Bellamy's not there and Donovan Edwards isn't there, they fully believe they can win another state championship, and they're still running a tight ship under Coach Grice. So Dillon really wanted to put recruiting on the back burner. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. So one of the big reasons why Dillon is delaying even more is because he's supposed to announce on CBS, and they have not given him a date. I guess maybe they have a waiting list or something. I don't know if this is like an airport, but he's not announcing, mostly because CBS has not given him a date. He still wants to do it soon. How soon really depends on when he can work things out with CBS, but he does want to make a live announcement. That's always been his plan, to do a big, commitment ceremony. So we'll see when that happens. But as of today, which is Wednesday, the game is on Friday. So he has 48 hours to commit before the season. I don't expect it to happen this week. Maybe we see something pop up next week and he gets it done out of the way. But for now, it's really kind of up in it. Plans are really up in the air. There's no firm commitment date. I would just say I'm not expecting it to happen this week. And it seems like he's still listening to both schools. Both Michigan and Michigan State remain the two finalists, and he hasn't told either school no. So Wolverines still fighting for the four-star in-state athlete.
I'm a man of the people. I feel like I speak for the people at times, so everyone's going to be asking you, and I've already seen a couple people ask you your gut feeling on this one, and I guess if you feel like he has made a decision, even if he hasn't informed the staffs.
Yeah, I think with Dillon, there is no real gut feeling. I've talked to Dillon plenty of times, and I think he's kind of in the same mold as Drew Kendall and George Rooks, where they really wrestled with the options that they had. And so it's pointless to sit here and say, well, I feel like it's going to be Michigan, or I feel like it's going to be Michigan State. It could really, go either way, just like we saw with Drew Kendall and George Rooks, Michigan winning one of those battles. But I really think that Dillon's torn. And even though, like, Dillon's already told CBS, like, I want to do it, Dillon's always, you know, he's obviously pushed back his timeline, but the latest he wanted to do it was before the season. He's planning to enroll early, so that's another reason why he wanted to commit now. So I don't doubt that Dillon wants to get it done sooner rather than later, but I'm not so sure he's picked a school, to be completely honest, and that's why he hasn't informed the staffs. Or CBS is partnered with TOS, and we have not seen any picks come in, and they have to get a heads up on where he's going. So at this point, I would say that it's still a toss up.
Still 50-50. So we'll keep an eye on Dillon Tatum as we go forward. EJ, we'll take a quick break. Well, not even a break because this is a product that's near and dear to our hearts. Let's talk about Manscaped a little bit, a great partner of ours. Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, including ourselves. Get yourself rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code 20GoBlue. That's 20GoBlue, 20 GOBLUE. I got my they've been sending us box after box. So I got my Manscaped box here. It's empty because I got all the stuff using on a regular basis. But the world's opening back up again, EJ. I mean, people are going out. You've been traveling. You just can't say enough about this product, and I think it's more important right now than ever because things are kind of getting back to normal, and you want to be nice, clean shaven.
Yeah, I got the travel pack, and so it really helps on the go, especially in these hot summer months. Even now in late August, it was 95 in Chicago yesterday. Just traveling across the country, I went to Seattle for the satellite camp, which is normally a mild climate, and it was in the triple digits. So it's been a really, really hot summer, and Manscaped always helps me stay clean below the belt, even on the road. So they have a great goodie bag for travel and all types of neat products.
Yeah, definitely. So that's 20% off plus free shipping. You can't beat it. You're going to get it anyway at some point. So get it now and use the promo code 20GoBlue at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. 20GoBlue, 20GOBLUE at manscaped.com. EJ, let's get back to some of the top storylines here. And that, of course, is going to include Toffee Thomas, a defensive tackle, 3-star out of Florida. He is teammates with Mario Eugenio, 4-star Michigan defensive end commit. He was, Michigan was in his top 4. He announces that he's going to commit, and this was Saturday. And then just a couple hours before he was set to commit, and it looked like it was going to be Michigan if the Wolverines were going to take him, and it kind of came down to the last second there. He decides to delay. What does all that mean, I guess? Can you just kind of give the people some insight on exactly what happened at the 11th hour?
Yeah, so I put in a pick for Toffee Thomas before I went on vacation. So Michigan had a plan set for him where he was going to be a take for them. Toffee Thomas, again, 3-star, 300-pound defensive tackle from Tampa Gaither, same school as Michigan commit Mario Eugenio. But I put in a pick for him, and there was a set plan for him. So he was supposed to come in for an official visit in September. They were going to kind of eye him up, make sure he passed the eye test, and then go ahead and take him and accept a commitment. So I kind of got ahead of it and put out a future cast pick. This coincided with Mario Eugenio's tweet that said good news coming, and Toffee Thomas releasing a top 4. So that included Michigan. So everything was kind of lined up to go to plan. And then I went off to Switzerland and came back, and all of a sudden Toffee Thomas had a commitment date scheduled. And at that point, I think Michigan was kind of caught off guard. Toffee was supposed to make an unofficial visit in the summer with Eugenio. That did not happen. So they've never seen him in person. So when I got back from Switzerland on Friday, I immediately checked around and asked what was going on with Toffee, and Michigan said they had to talk about it. Those on the Michigan side said they had to talk about it because they hadn't seen him in person. And then ultimately on Saturday, they kind of told him, look, we want to hold off. We want you to stick with the original plan of coming in for an official visit. And so it's a tough situation just because it looked like everything was in place for Thomas to eventually become a Wolverine. And with him speeding up his timeline and not really kind of understanding the recruiting process, uh, and with Michigan wanting to see him in person, things kind of really, really hit the ground in the worst possible way for both parties. On one side, it sucks for Thomas because he had an entire ceremony planned that Saturday with family and friends. And then he even gave commitment quotes in preparation for his announcement. So he was obviously going to Michigan. And then he had to put out a tweet 2 hours before his announcement party saying that he was pushing back his timeline. And then on the flip side of the coin, if you're Michigan, you had a plan set, and then the kid went off the grid and announced a commitment date on his own. They weren't ready to take him because he was, a little lower on the defensive tackle board behind some guys like Deon Walker, Kenneth Grant. But now it kind of makes you look like the bad guy too, because look, I mean, Thomas was set to commit. He's a teammate of a guy you're currently taking in Mario Eugenio. Thomas also has a good friendship with Deon Walker, who's a top target. They all run in the same circles. And so, even though I don't think it'll be a huge deal, you still don't want that negative publicity kind of affecting your program in any way. So I think again, this one just happened to be worst case scenario. So the result of it is that Michigan would still like Thomas to come in this fall so they can get a look at him. I'm not sure that happens with the way this went down. Eugenio picked Michigan for several reasons, so I don't think it'll ultimately hurt Michigan with Eugenio. But just an unfortunate situation all around that had a lot of moving parts. And so at this point, I don't expect Thomas in the class. Had he waited and everything had gone according to plan, I feel like he would be a Wolverine next month. But now, with the way things happened, we'll see if his name resurfaces.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. Before we go, um, what's kind of next then for defensive tackle recruiting? We'll keep an eye on what happens with Thomas and if he does, end up coming to campus. But Michigan failed to close with Deon Walker in the summer following a bunch of visits, including the barbecue at the Big House. We kind of thought that could have been the big weekend for Michigan to wrap up that recruitment. Kenneth Grant is another guy who you mentioned just a few minutes ago, but Michigan has, they're in a good position there as well. And really, those two names are why that probably the Toffee Thomas situation even happened, because they have such a good shot with those guys. What are your thoughts on their chances and where Michigan goes from here in the middle of that defense?
Yeah, Michigan's definitely a top school for both Deon Walker and Kenneth Grant. At this point, neither are guarantees, though. So I think Michigan took a little bit of a risk by not taking a safety net in Thomas, but they feel good about their chances with Grant and Walker. I think a strong start to the season will definitely help with both. It was disappointing that Michigan didn't close with Walker, considering how many times they got him on campus this summer. At the same time, Dion has been intrigued with schools down south. Alabama recently offered. Georgia hosted him for an unofficial visit in the summer. So, with Dion and Kenneth, who has an offer from Ohio State, but maybe might not be as high on their board. But with both Kenneth and Dion, they not only want to see wins from Michigan, but they just want to get a sense of stability. I think both really, really, really like what Michigan has to offer. I think both would be committed to Michigan if the Wolverines weren't in a situation where there were stability question marks. But obviously, that is the case right now. So they both want to see how Michigan starts. Aside from Kenneth and Dion, who are at the top of the board, you have guys like Robbie Harrison from South Carolina, a guy who can play the nose or play one of the end spots, who's coming in for an official visit this fall. Isaiah Hastings out of Florida by way of Canada was on campus for an unofficial visit this summer. You have Sean Washington, who is a former LSU commit, still on the board as well. And then you kind of trickle down and maybe they circle back to Thomas. But right now, I would say Grant and Dillon are two of the most must lands of this class.
Definitely. Stay tuned at thewolverine.com, everybody, for more Michigan football coverage. As I mentioned at the top, we will have a ton of recruiting coverage throughout the fall as high school football season. Now, 1 week in around the country, it seems like, but here in the state of Michigan, opening up this weekend, we'll be on the road for some games. So catch us for that. Like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.